Mary, I am so delighted to have you here because you've been just such an incredibly special person, and I have loved working with you so much. So thank you so much for joining me here.
Thank you, Vivian. It's been a journey for me, an amazing journey for me as well.
It really
And
has been an incredible journey. I mean, I cannot believe the transformation you've had in just a matter of 8 weeks, isn't it?
well, that's certainly true, and it's happened without me knowing. I'm sure it's all happening at the subconscious level, because today I look at myself and think I'm not the same person, but I don't know exactly how it happened and what point of time it happened, but it did happen. And I think it's just little 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 things that started something inside me that answered questions that I couldn't answer before.
Do you feel comfortable talking about where you were? Because I just want to give people an idea of just how far you really came. Can you tell us a little bit about why you came to me and how you were when we first met?
I've got a long journey, a very long journey, probably going back to my childhood. I had a fairly dysfunctional relationship with my mother. I didn't think she liked me very much, and I was always trying really hard to be good enough and achieve enough to be acceptable to her. And I suppose that's where it started. That's where I got my feeling about who I was and what I had to do to get people to like me and love me. As I grew up, I was unfortunately involved with, I was targeted by a predator, a pedophile Catholic priest, and that did nothing for my self-esteem. I was a prey. I was just prey for him, because I was this little person who would people please, and any little snippets of attention that I would get, I would just do whatever he wanted me to do. And when I look at that, I think I was helpless. I had no defense against him. And when I eventually got the strength to remove myself from that situation, after a very long time, 6 years, I might say, from the age of 11 to the age of 17, when I got the courage and strength to move on from that, I had to tell my family, and they were just absolutely disgusted and absolutely ashamed of me, and that just put a whole new layer of feeling my worthlessness that I felt. So I carried that into then my first marriage, had 4 children. After 24 years, my first husband walked out on me and left me for another woman, a younger woman. And the kids were only teenagers then. However, I did that. I went to work. I was a school teacher. I didn't really like being a school teacher, but it suited being able to raise 4 children. Eventually met another person who was different but the same. Yeah. And I now know that from all the work that I've done, that I can probably put the label of narcissist on both of those people. Same sort of MO as all the way through my life, where anyone showed me a little bit of attention, I was there. I would give everything, do everything, people please, and not expect anything back, and accept little drips of anything back, and that was good enough. Eventually, after another very long period of time, I decided, well, not eventually, probably 10 times, I left my second husband and went back and forward and back and forward. And to this day, he is still stalking me and chasing me and turning up at my house and phoning me. And despite everything that I've told him, that I do not want to have anything to do with him again. And so that was at the point where I was when I contacted you. I had looked at lots and lots of your videos, and they spoke to me where I was, and about all this. It's so many layers. It's so many layers of dysfunction.
I love your cuckoo clock in the back.
Sorry about my cuckoo clock. Goes off every hour, you know.
Yeah, no, it was quite incredible when you found me, because you were full of fear, self-blame, shame. In fact, I recall that you were almost numb and unable to feel anything.
That is very good description of where I was. Very good description.
And you had what was so amazing about you, Mary, was that you had actually had therapy, and can you describe that? And you came to me and you said it hadn't worked for you, and you even went away. You decided you wanted to work with me, and you even went away and got the Catholic Church to pay for it.
That's what I did.
Incredibly resourceful of you. But yeah, can you talk to me about that? You had tried a lot of things and felt that what I offered was something different.
Yes. I'd had many years of not ongoing psychotherapy, but I'd visited people for like 8 weeks at a time. And unless they're in touch with exactly what's causing it, the problem goes right back to childhood. Unless they're actually looking at that, it doesn't matter what else they talk you through, it just doesn't work. Talking through relationships and what he said, she said, and what you felt, that is useless, because it's not getting to the core of the problem that is inside myself, that was inside myself. It was frustrating, because I knew what they were doing was because they really couldn't understand where I was coming from. And I couldn't explain where I was coming from. When I first met you, I think I had just looked at your video for about the 10th time on the effect of narcissistic mothers. And it just resonated so strongly that that very day I contacted you. You'd put some little advertising blurbs, for want of a better word. They weren't blurbs, they were actually descriptions of the sort of person that you work with, and that was who I was, and that was where I was. And so I contacted you, and we discussed what you had to offer. And then I couldn't pay for it because I didn't have, I'm retired, I don't have a lot of money. I'm still helping my children, so I don't have a lot of money to do anything. And another thing is I don't spend things on myself. That was part of my problem. This time I was determined to do it. And I actually found the money. I went to the Catholic Church and I told my story to them, and they immediately paid the fees for your course. And that happened within weeks. So
it was absolutely incredible. And it just, it just shows, because for me, it's not about the money. It's about the commitment and readiness to change your life. Yes. And those who are committed and ready always find the way. And you are incredibly resourceful like that. And so tell me about how, and I'm delighted you did, because the transformation has been amazing.
It has.
And I'm not putting therapy down, but it's so, some women I work with do therapy alongside of working with me. Mm. But I think, so you're saying the difference was because I'd been through it? What was
that? Was exactly the difference, because I looked at some of your videos describing your story and what you had done. You had been through it. You knew exactly where it was coming from because of that. And I think in the very first time I spoke to you, you asked me about my childhood. Now, that had not happened before. People had talked about, you know, all the different layers of the onion, but you went straight to the childhood, and you talked about, asked me how anything I could remember about my childhood, any childhood instance. Now, I don't have a great memory of my childhood because I don't think I was very happy as a child, but I have a couple of outstanding ones that, and I probably remember things in a negative light too. That's another side of it, but that's, for whatever it is, that's what I felt. And once I could get in touch with the fact that this wasn't actually my fault. These things are not happening to me because I've had something wrong with me, or I wasn't as good as the other kids in the family, or I was a disappointment, or I was this, or I was that. This was a journey that I am going on, and I have to keep stepping up to the next level. And that's what it felt like. And it was, I think, one of the really strong turning points for me was when, and I don't even know when we were discussing it or when it happened, whether it was online in the group, but the idea that when you are feeling uncomfortable about something or someone, it is a pressure point for looking at what you need to look at. Now, with that information, that changed everything. It changed how I reacted to everything. So
I remember there was a point where you said to me, it was about 3 weeks in, and you said to me, I don't know what you're doing to me, but you have just fundamentally shifted my mindset.
Yes.
Without, you know, without pain, or in a safe space, you've just shifted something.
Yes.
Remember that moment?
Yes, I remember that. Yeah. And what you just said then, being in a safe space, that is very much part of the whole deal. The fact that you could say, I could say things to you and you weren't shocked, or you know, oh, you shouldn't feel like that, or how could you feel like that? That's what I got all my life. You looked at me as if to say, yes, I remember feeling like that. And I could see that in your face, that you knew exactly what I was talking about. And for some reason, it was like I knew I could do this, but I just needed someone to hold my hand and say, it's okay, and you are okay, and it's not your fault. Now, I could say that to myself, but it isn't the same.
No. And
so that's what you did for me.
And to give you the key to unlock what
exactly
shame and releasing it. Yeah,
that's right. Yes. And I just don't feel that anymore. I don't know when it happened, I don't know how it happened, but I don't feel a lot of that stuff anymore. It's not there anymore. And when it comes back, it doesn't press my button anymore. Well, my ex is still calling me. He's still coming around to my house, but I don't feel that panic that I used to feel anymore. I just say, oh yes, he's wrong. Yes, it's interesting, and I don't feel any need to go and feel sorry for him, or maybe he wasn't all that bad. That all of that is all related to the idea of I need to be better than anyone else so that someone will even look at me or like me.
Well, now you've got the confidence to make your own choices about how you respond to the world, rather than reacting emotionally and contracting in fear and shame and panic and all that. Yeah,
that's exactly right. Yes.
Can I take you back? How did you feel? Like, do you remember when you just first started with me? Because I want to give an idea of just how far you've come. What did you have any fears, or how did you feel in the first week that we started together?
I felt like I could intellectually figure out what was going on, but I was emotionally trapped. That I felt a lot of shame and a feeling of I'm never ever going to be good enough. It doesn't matter how much I achieve or how busy I am or or how much I pretend that I'm coping, part of me doesn't think that I'll ever cope or ever be good enough. And that shame has just gone. I don't know where. Don't know why, but it has.
How quickly did you feel? How quickly did you feel like you were getting results, mind shift changes?
It's not a timeline. I can't say 1 week or 2 weeks or 3 days. You wake up one morning and you think, I'm different. And I don't know how that happened. Because I think a lot of this stuff is going on in your subconscious mind. And whatever you're doing or whatever you're saying is actually targeting that. Because you know what areas to target. And you're not, everything you say hits the point. It's not, I never got to the stage where I think, no, she doesn't really know it. I'm not on that page. Whereas I got to that with a lot of therapy. I would go to a therapy session and they would start talking about something and I'd say, that is not where I'm at. But I never ever felt like that with you. The one-on-ones that we had and the group sessions, I've never been very good at group sessions where I've got to wait my turn to talk. But in this situation, it wasn't like I was waiting for my turn to talk, because whenever the other people were talking, they were actually saying what I was thinking and I was saying. So a lot of people, the people who actually do your course, are probably got very similar situations.
I think
which is surprising.
I think that's been the most surprising part for me as well, that how powerful the groups are, and that how much everybody just relates to each other, and then they don't feel like they're alone.
Yes, that's powerful, because that's one of the huge things with this journey that I've been on. I isolate myself. I used to isolate myself so much because I didn't want anyone to know what I was really like. Because if they really knew what I was like, they wouldn't like me. And that takes a lot of energy to cover yourself, to cover up what you think is something bad underneath. So I don't have that anymore. I don't feel like I'm going to get caught out so much anymore.
It was just, honestly, it was the most beautiful thing to watch you just grow and change, and you know, the woman you are now, confident, sure, unafraid. It's just extraordinary. And you got to the point, Mary, where you actually were able to stand up to the Catholic Church. Something
yes.
you were so terrified of in the beginning.
Absolutely. Yeah. That was actually a huge part of this, and it was an incidental part of it. The fact that I had to ask the Catholic Church for the money, and then they offered me the opportunity to come and talk to them, to a big, powerful, important bishop who was a male. All my terror spots, and I actually calmly told him how I actually felt, which I'd hardly been in touch with before anyway. But I did, and he was sympathetic, and he was a lovely, very nice, genuine person. But I didn't feel frightened of him. I didn't feel intimidated by him. I thought that he genuinely listened, and the Catholic Church's view has changed a lot since I had the experience. And it's not over yet. I'm still working with them. So,
it was amazing.
Those are incidental things that have come out of this.
Yeah, it was amazing. We didn't expect that. And I remember we talked before you had that meeting, and you were able to have it very calmly and confidently, something that just previously had filled you with such shame.
Yes,
it was
absolutely.
I was so proud of you after that moment. And so what would you say, Mary, would be the greatest impact working together has had on you?
The fact that you believed in me, and you believed me, but you believed what I was saying. Whereas before, when I told my story, I felt like a fraud. I felt like people were saying, oh yeah, sure, we know all about you. You can't can't trick us. But you actually looked at me and you believed me, and I could see you believe me, and that's all I needed to be able to then go and do a lot of my own healing. It's like when you're a little child, you can go across a road, but you're not going to do it unless you've got someone holding your hand saying it's all right and we can go now. That's exactly what it's like. And I'm not a child anymore, but I still had that fear of, oh, maybe I'll get it wrong, or maybe this is not the right thing to do. But when you've got someone there who says it is okay and you are okay and you can do this, that's all you need to hear. And then you can go and do amazing things.
And the beautiful part about you, Mary, was that you then went on after, as you were getting towards the end of the 8 weeks, you were inspiring the new women who were coming through. How did that feel?
That's interesting, because I didn't realize that.
You really were. And yeah, you've been an incredible part of this. And what would you say, how do you think you would be now if you hadn't have gone through this few months with me?
I would probably be not far off where I was before, because there's just so much you can do with self-help, and you get to the point where you need validation. You need someone to say what you're doing is the right thing, and the way you're feeling is normal, because you're telling yourself all the time that's not the case. And so I've probably cut 10 years off my therapy. I don't know. It's not a time thing. You can't say 1 week or 10 years. You could have recovery in your teenage years, or you could be 69 and still doing it. I mean, we all are growing and learning and healing, but the healing that I've had in the last 8 weeks has been significant.
Yeah, it's
absolutely
amazing. And what would you say, because there's a lot of women who, I speak to a lot of women, and many just find it really too frightening to take that step and grab my hand and come into this program. What would you say to anyone who's feeling that fear, or sitting on the fence and not sure about whether to take that step or not?
I think when you're ready, it's easy to take that step. When you're not ready, it's impossible to take that step. And I think one of the first things I said to you, when the student is ready, the teacher appears, and you just did. That brings me to another thing. You are always talking about your little miracles, how when your mindset changes, all these little things happen, and they are amazing things, all out of the blue. And that's over the last 8 weeks. That's what's been happening. Lots of really positive, exciting little but exciting little things, and things that I've been waiting on for a very long time, and all of a sudden they just turn up.
Yeah, I love those sayings. That's my favorite saying. When the student is ready, the teacher appears. But the little miracles things, just to explain it for anyone who doesn't know, is where I want to get you to, is to the point where you're not getting in your own way, you're not self-sabotaging, you're not in your head filled with shame and blame and fear and all that, so that once you step into that confident, authentic adult that you deserve to be and need to be, and let go of everything else, then suddenly the universe starts to support you and send you in the right direction. And it is extraordinary how these little miracles start appearing that you wouldn't have seen before, because you're so in your head full of dysfunction and chaos and fear.
Yes, it is. It is amazing, and it sounds, well, it doesn't sound, it's not corny, but it sounds, if you say it to someone and they think, oh yes, yeah, sure, but it's real. It really happens. And I don't know that it's because it's your change in mindset. I believe the universe has a very powerful impact, and the way you are, you attract or repel good things. but the self-sabotage is huge. So, I mean, I think my self-sabotage has definitely gone down. I don't do that anymore.
Yeah, I mean, it really is the fundamental part about what I do is show you how to change you. And once you change you, you can change the rest of your life.
Yes,
Every
yes.
aspect of your life.
That
And
is absolutely true.
yeah,
Very
I mean,
true.
honestly, you have changed fundamentally, Mary, and I've just absolutely loved it. I mean, you've been such a joy to me, and you haven't got rid of me because as
Oh, that's good.
you know, once you join me, you join me for life, and you are
Yes.
part of my beautiful community now, and will get on my ongoing support. And I just thank you for trusting me and putting your faith in me and fighting for yourself and fighting to find that way to invest in yourself, to change. And I totally agree with you. It comes down to, if you're ready, you'll do whatever it takes to make it happen. And that's
Yes.
exactly what you did.
Yes, that's exactly true. Yeah.
So is there any last words you'd like to say?
Let me see. What have I had things in here? I think we've covered everything. One of the things about you is that you come across as being really authentic. You are you're speaking from the heart. You're not. You can tell you're not acting. And when you say, "I'm so pleased that you're here," I feel really good that I'm here because you said you're pleased to see me, and you don't get that very often. But it really does make a difference. It makes a difference to how you feel and the feeling of trust, and that's really powerful, very powerful.
And well, I hope this doesn't sound rude.
Whatever.
But could I just say, you're also I love your authenticity as well, and in a way, you're a really good ad for it's never too late to change.
No, you can't get much older than 69. Most of us don't get further than 69. No, but I've been on this journey for my whole life. So like I've been doing heaps of stuff, but it's just and I feel like I'm only just in a place where I can be content and not worry about any of this anymore.
Yeah.
So it's not too late. It's a life's journey. That's what it is.
Well, thank you so much for trusting me with that.
Thank you.
So glad the day you said yes and grabbed my hand was just, I'm so happy that you did, because I am authentic. I mean, I'm absolutely genuinely want to show women that you don't have to spend the life, no matter how old you are, no matter how young you are, you don't have to spend another day settling for less, blaming yourself, full of shame, full of pain. And yeah, to see you now so confident and sure of yourself and standing up to a huge institution is just
it's huge.
Absolutely amazing.
As an amazing experience, amazing coincidence last night, I'm going through Netflix trying to look at something to find, and I found the First Wives Club. Bette Midler and all those wonderful women with my favourite song about You Don't Own Me, and I thought, yes, that's where I've come from. That's my journey. Thank you very much.
Now that does age us, that movie.
Exactly.
Brilliant. Well, yeah, I can't believe it. I mean, this is just incredible. In just a matter of 2 months, extraordinary, Mary. And
yes, thank you.
I'm just so delighted to have you in my life now.
Oh, thank you. That feeling is very mutual. Thank you very much.
All right. Well, thank you for your time here today, and I will see you in our little community. And
yes, certainly will.
I can't wait to see how much more progress you're going to make, because there's no stopping you now.
I hope not.
All right. Thanks, Mary.
Thank you, Vivian. Thank you so much.
All right.
Talk soon. Bye-bye.